Hare Krishna, we continue reading from prayers of Queen Kunti. We are on prayer 10, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, chapter 8, text 27. My obeisances are unto you, who are the property of the materially impoverished. You have nothing to do with the actions and reactions of the material modes of nature. You are self-satisfied, and therefore you are the most gentle and are master of the morning. So again, here is Kunti Maharani is also telling that Krishna has nothing to do with the law of karma. Krishna has nothing to do with anything material. He's not bound by the material laws. Why? He's the one who creates the laws, as we were reading in Srimad Bhagavatam and Caitanya Caritamrta just now. So we're continuing with the purport of Srila Prabhupada, as we have been reading it for past few days. So this position is very nice. When one does not depend on anything material, but simply depends on Krishna. One has attained the first class position of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna consciousness means not depending on anything material. Now, we are always depending on our material resources. I can do it. I have my family. I have my whatever. I have my possessions. I have my friends. I have my parents, or I have my this material body. I have my mind. I have my intelligence. Whenever we say my, then it becomes material, because nothing belongs to us, you know. But if we simply depend on Krishna, then this is first class position of Krishna consciousness. Why? Because the soul knows that, yes, I am completely dependent on Krishna. But right now we are thinking, no, I am separate from Krishna, so I can do it by myself. So perfection is when we understand that I am completely dependent on Krishna. That is perfection. Now we might say, oh, but why am I going to try to realize myself that I'm dependent on Krishna? What does it mean? I'm going to try to realize who I am, and then you want me to realize I'm dependent on Krishna? What do you want? What are you saying? But that's the fact. It's just that because we don't want to accept this fact, we are right now here in the material world, trying to be the controllers and enjoyers and entrapped in this material body. What we have to do is we have to understand our true position. That is self-realization. To understand who we truly are, in fact, not who we think we should be. So that's why I said it's the first class position of Krishna consciousness, because that is our position. It's not artificial. Therefore, Krishna is addressed as Akinchana Vita. When one becomes materially impoverished, you are the only wealth. Namo Kanchana Vitaya Nivrita Guna Vrittaye. When one takes you as one's only possession, one immediately becomes free from the activities of the material nature. So we are thinking, I can depend, I can, you know, I can support myself, I have my intelligence, I have my ability, I have my capability, I have this one and that one. Then we are still thinking in terms of the body. We're still attached to the body. But once when completely, Krishna, I have only you, I have nothing else, then one immediately becomes free from activities of material nature. Means immediately liberation. This is liberation. In other words, by accepting Krishna in this way, one attains the transcendental position of the absolute. So when we are able to understand that I'm completely dependent on Krishna, I have no other shelter, that is attaining the absolute position, the transcendental position. Atma Ramaya, Atma Ramaya. At that time, one becomes happy with you, Krishna. You are happy with yourself, and one who surrenders to you becomes happy as you are. So when one becomes so completely surrendered to Krishna, one gets liberated. So one is in the transcendental position. One is not on the position of the body anymore. One is on the position of the soul, and the soul is always happy. Krishna is always happy, and the soul is also always happy. And so then the pure devotee is always happy. So there is no difference between Krishna's body and Krishna himself. As we were also just reading earlier, that when we see Krishna's photo, that is Krishna himself. It's not that Krishna's soul is inside his body. No, this is Krishna himself. This is his form, transcendental. His body is not material. He is entirely self, entirely spirit. We, on the other hand, have a body that is different from ourselves. I am self, but I possess a material body. But when we actually become dependent on Krishna, who's completely self-satisfied, we can also be self-satisfied with Krishna. So right now, we are the soul, but we are inside this material body. There is a difference. There is a difference. Right now, I possess a material body. So this body is separate from me. It's not who I am. But when I become completely dependent on Krishna, then I will become completely self-satisfied. Completely. Because that is my eternal transcendental position. Kaivalya Pataye Namaha, the Mayavadi philosophers, monists, want to become one with the Supreme. The Supreme is self-satisfied, and they also want to be self-satisfied by becoming one with the Supreme. Our philosophy of Krishna consciousness is the same. But instead of becoming one with Krishna, we depend on Krishna. That is actual oneness. If we simply agree to abide by the orders of Krishna and have no disagreement with him, we are situated in actual oneness. So, becoming one with Supreme, what does it mean to become one with Supreme? Krishna consciousness means we become one with the will of Krishna. There is no disagreement with Krishna. That is actual oneness. Whatever is Krishna's desire, I accept it, depending on Krishna. That is actual oneness. That is Krishna consciousness. Not becoming Krishna. Not becoming Krishna. We can't become Supreme. Because then again, we are not trying to understand who we truly are. We just have to become, we don't have to become anything. We just have to discover who we are. And that's all. Our true original position. And the true original position of every living entity is Krishna consciousness. There is no disagreement between the soul and Krishna in the liberated platform. That's why in the Vaikuntha world, everything is fully happy. There's no envy, there's no anxiety, because everyone is in harmony with Krishna's will. The Mayavadi philosophers think, why shall I keep my individual separate existence? I shall merge into the Supreme. But that is not possible. From the very beginning, we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So now I may say, oh, but after I get liberated, I don't want to be existing anymore. I want to give up my individuality. I want to merge and become nothing. But that's not possible. That's not possible. Why? Because we exist eternally. That's the position of the soul, not the body. The soul, the consciousness exists eternally. The soul exists eternally. Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad Gita, my dear Arjun, you should know that you, I, and all the persons assembled on this battlefield were individuals in the past. We are individuals at present. And in the future, we shall continue to remain individuals. So at no point can we not exist anymore. The body, sure, we don't need the body. This body is a diseased condition that we have accepted right now. But in the liberated stage also, there is at no point that we don't exist. We exist eternally. as individuals, as each of us is an individual. Individuality does not um, is not in regard to the body. Why? Because once I leave this body is going to be burned. It disappears, you know. This body is temporary, but the soul is permanent. So the soul is an individual, even in the liberated stage. Why? Because we are eternally parts and parcels of Krishna. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. Krishna is the supreme Nitya, the supreme living force among the innumerable living forces. We, living entities, Jiva, are innumerable, Ananta. There is no counting of how many we are. Similarly, Krishna is also a living entity, but he's the chief, the supreme living entity. That is the difference. One leader may have many followers. Similarly, Krishna, the supreme living entity, is the supreme leader, and we are subordinate, dependent living entities. So, Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. We souls, we living entities, we are all souls. And so there are unlimited number of souls, innumerable, Ananta. Unlimited souls are there. And then, so each souls are living entities. Krishna is also a living entity, but he's the chief living entity. He's the leader of all the souls. He's the supreme living force. He's the leader. We can see in the material world also, there is a leader, and then there are some people who are following him. Some people who he's protecting, some people he's maintaining. So that's relating to the body, right? Now coming to the point of the soul. Each soul is an individual, and so there are unlimited number of individual souls. And there's a leader of all these individual souls, and that's Krishna. And everyone is under his protection. Everyone is dependent on the supreme leader, Krishna. When we see everyone, means every individual soul, even in the liberated stage. That we are dependent is not very difficult to understand. If Krishna does not supply us food, we shall starve, because we independently cannot produce anything. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. So now we can see here, right now we are in the body. Right now we are in the body, so we need food to survive. So who's providing us the food? Who's providing us the grains? Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Krishna is maintaining everything, and we are being maintained. So Krishna is maintaining us here in this material world, and Krishna is maintaining us even in our liberated stage, when we do not have this material body anymore. So he's the supreme soul. Therefore, Krishna is the real predominator, and we should be willing to be predominated. So means Krishna, he is the Purusha, and we are the Prakriti. We should be willing to be predominated by him, because he is the predominator. It's just because we say, no, why should Krishna be? Why is Krishna the supreme soul? Why can't I be the supreme soul? Why do I have to be under anyone? How about there is unlimited souls and there is no supreme soul? How about everything is one? There's no difference between the supreme soul and me, the individual soul. But that's just wishful thinking. That is not trying to understand the fact. That is just trying to imagine what the truth is. So that is our natural constitutional position. If we falsely want to become predominators in this material world, we are in illusion. We must give up this illusion and always try to be predominated by Krishna. Then our life will be successful. So what is our illusion is that we are thinking we are not dependent on Krishna in the material world or even in the liberated stage. That is the illusion. So once we come to accept, yes, I am being predominated by Krishna, whether in this material world or whether in the liberated stage, then that is true Krishna consciousness. then our life is successful. And how do we reach to that position? By hearing and chanting. That's how we can reach to that position. Right now, we are unable to accept it. Why? Of course, we are unable to accept it. That's the reason we are here in the material world. That's the reason we have a material body. The reason we have a material body is because we do not want to accept the supreme position of Krishna. Once we accept the supreme position of Krishna completely, liberated, go back home. No need to be here. So we can reach that position easily by hearing and chanting. Is that okay?
Yes.
Any comments?
No.
So we'll stop here for today.
Okay.
Kunti Maharani ki jai, Shila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.